Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Saving Wallden Development stream. I am Orqata, and I will be entertaining you for the next 2 hours on today's stream. Today, we are going to continue where we left off on Friday, working on the new Saving Wallden website. Before I get into that, I just want to make a couple of quick announcements. The first one being that those who are watching on Valora, you should be happy to know that I think at least I have the emotes, stickers, and sound redeems working now. So those should all be working on my stream, and I also changed the chat widget that you see above my head to better support emojis in particular. Because I know from past streams, a couple of people have tried to use animated emojis in particular, and Mix It Up does not currently support them all that well. They just show up as text, the code name for the emoji rather than the emoji itself. So for now, I'm using Valora's chat overlay because what's nice about Valora is that they also support picking up messages from both Twitch and Kick. So I can do a fully functional chat overlay using Valora instead of Mix It Up. So that's what we're doing, at least for the time being. I'm going to give you a recap of my August 2026 streaming schedule. I'm currently on vacation and also just finished moving. So my streaming schedule or my streaming capacity for the month of August is quite limited. My streams will primarily be on Sundays at the various times throughout the day. You might catch me on a rare occurrence on a Friday or Saturday night, but otherwise there will be no streams Monday through Thursday due to both work and other things. There is one exception. Starting August 23rd, which is when I get back home from visiting family, I will not be able to stream until new internet service is installed. So what ended up happening was that I originally scheduled to install internet service at the new location, and then my manager and I discovered that the unit is infested with cockroaches. So I had to postpone the installation of the new internet service until I get back, because while I'm gone, they are doing pest control on the unit. Please be patient with me throughout today's stream because I think my allergies are acting up a little bit, so I may be a little stuffy, sniffly, whatever you want to call it. Alright, so that is basically all that I have in terms of announcements. Let's go on and get into our stream. So, as I mentioned in previous streams, what we are doing is we're taking the old Super Tilted website and building a new website for Saving Wallden. Super Tilted is a group of individuals who are collectively building original digital pinball tables together. And Saving Wallden, which is a pinball game that I am working on, is a part of this group. Unfortunately, the domain for this group expired and the website went offline. So what I did was temporarily I copied the website onto a subdomain on my own domain just so I can recover the information about the Wallden. I did a double slash there. Okay, good. It still worked. So what I'm doing is I'm recovering the information that I had about the Wallden off of this site and building a new website. And that has been what the previous several streams of Saving Wallden has been about. Let's go ahead and get started by firing up my development environment. I am using Larabox Pro. If anybody wants to check it out, especially if you are developing on Windows. Not ideal, but sometimes you don't have a choice when you have a job that requires software that only runs on Windows. So what I do is I downloaded Larabox, and it's a very nice program. It makes setting up your development environment very easy, especially if you are a PHP developer or a Node.js developer. With that being said, let's go on and get started with our development. Hello, Run Until You Fly. So, what if I want to farm? Kidding, of course. How are you doing today? I am honestly quite tired. I'm hanging in there, but I am quite tired. Last night around midnight, we had a thunderstorm come through the area. Pretty significant thunderstorm. Lasted about an hour or two. It had some really pretty heat lightning with it. I don't have pictures of it, but my mom does. So at some point, I'll try and get pictures for you and show you on stream. Maybe when I take my top of the hour break, I'll see if I can get those photos for you. But the storm had some really cool lightning effects. But unfortunately, it disturbed my sleep cycle. So I am a bit tired today. How are you? So, in our previous stream, we finished the Viking page for Saving Wallden. And we are going to continue with, I think we're going to do one of the more difficult pages today, and that would be Chaser. Oh, I'm sorry, not Chaser, Sniper. The reason why this would be one of the difficult pages is that, well, give me a moment here. I have to make sure I have the right. Yes, I do. I have the right thing. There are like 10 different variations on the sniper feature that are randomly selected each time you start sniper. So just like with the castle objective for the game, which that's basically the modes. So there's like 25 different modes that could be triggered. And I had to create an accordion element for each mode. We will have to do the same thing for Sniper. We'll have to create an accordion item for each of 10 variations of the Sniper multi-ball. Run Until You Fly says, I feel you with the tired part. The CEO dev thing never ends. Plus, Valora isn't my only thing I've got to keep on top of. I hope you make up for that and get more rest tonight. Thank you. Yeah, we'll see what happens with regards to that. And I know you are also working on. Unfortunately, I forget the name of the radio platform off of the top of my head, but I do know you have been working on a radio platform. Is there anything else that I'm missing? Those are the only two things that I'm aware of that you've been working on. Is Valora and the radio platform. And of course, I would imagine you are also handling CEO business with the company and everything like that as well. Oops, wrong website. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started by creating our sniper page. We have to start, as mentioned in previous streams, by going into our entry point script, and we have to define a route. Our route is going to be rules/sniper. And that's going to take us to the PHP script rule/sniper. And we're going to title that page sniper. This is all PHP code that gets injected into the HTML down here, which pulls up the appropriate files and pieces together the website. Run Until You Fly says, yes, it's your radio, which I have owned since 2012. I'm getting old and done the company duties. Plus, I have a couple side projects I've been working on for months that are not public yet. Oh yeah, I think you briefly mentioned something with regards to secret projects. Very fun stuff. I still have yet to check out It's Your Radio. I did an internet radio station myself. It was probably nothing like It's Your Radio, but way back when I did something called I called it WRRJ Radio. Funny enough, at the time WRRJ call letters did not exist, so I just simply used that for the internet radio station. But a short time after I discontinued the internet radio station, come to find out there is now an actual WRRJ radio station stationed out in Florida. And I believe they play like tropical and reggae music. I'll have to double check on that to be sure. But all I know is there is now an actual radio station with the call letters WRRJ, which is kind of funny. 2020 in IYR was peak. It's Your Radio was peak, but the site started aging. That's why a revamp is coming. That's wild, LOL. So, yeah, I still have to check out It's Your Radio, but what exactly is it? Is it a radio station, or is it a platform where people host their own, like, internet radio station streams on it? Because when I did WRRJ, it was just a single internet radio station stream, but people could sign up and schedule and do their own radio shows through it. They could either upload a pre-record, or they could use what was it, Icecast, I believe it was called. They could use a relay to tap into the Icecast server and feed their own audio to it to do a live broadcast. Of course, at the time, we're talking 2007, 2010, that era. Low latency media was not really a thing back then. So there was about a 30-second lag, or 30-second latency between the streamer and the listener. It is a radio station favored for talk content, and also we handled podcasting episodes and sending them to podcast platforms to people. We're working on a new phone system for an updated call-ins. Nice. Is it going to basically be like a web-based interface where people can call in at the number, and like you could have a queue or something like that? Like you have guests in the queue and you can answer whomever you want to have on the air, that kind of thing? Because that kind of reminds me of, I think it's called Clean Feed. We used this at WWSU Radio when I worked over there, college radio station. We used Clean Feed. Actually, this is more WebRTC than it is actual phone lines, but same principle. People would connect, and then they would be in the queue, and then the host of the radio show would then activate their audio track whenever they wanted to bring them on the air. You know, I just stopped writing code to eat, and I'm watching a coding stream. Well, lucky for you, I haven't, I guess technically I have started coding, because I put in the route there, but I haven't done much yet. I mean, and there's a big difference between actually coding and watching somebody code too. Yeah. Interesting. I've never seen clean feed bookmarking for reference. Yeah, it's been a while since I've used clean feed to be honest. So I'm not sure what they're like now, but I know back this was like 7 or 8 years ago when we used it. It was really handy for doing live remote broadcasts. Especially this was before. I'm gonna have to dox myself for a moment, which I mean I'm okay with that. I'm gonna pull up a GitLab project for you. Back when I worked in WWSU radio, I created a client server setup program rather that complemented the automation system for the radio station and added a lot of additional features. This was post clean feed, so this replaced clean feed and a lot of other stuff that we had at the radio station. But yeah, after clean feed, we switched to using this program, and this program had its own built-in WebRTC Pure.js functionality. So now, whenever the radio station wanted to do a live remote sports broadcast for the college, all they would have to do is take their laptop and sound equipment out to the arena, boot up the laptop, load up this program, feed the audio in as a microphone device, and the program would send the audio to the radio station under WebRTC. So, unlike Icecast or Darkcast or Shoutcast, which has quite a bit of latency, the latency with WebRTC was only about a second, maybe a little bit less than that. I intentionally increased the latency a little bit on it, though. The default latency was about 200 milliseconds. But there was a lot of audio jitter and robotic sounds in the process. The network wasn't very stable, so I increased the buffer size, if you will, the buffer latency to 1 second to get a more smooth remote broadcast. And the nice thing about the application that I developed is that, as I mentioned, it taps into the automation system. So when the sports broadcaster is out on the field and they can send a signal through the program that they want to begin a broadcast, the program will finish whatever's currently playing on the air, do a quick introduction or sting, and then send them on the air automatically. Whereas before, prior to making this program, there would actually have to be a physical person in the studio of the radio station to control the board and send the people down on the arena live and take them off the air and so on and so forth. So, good times. I would have liked to continue maintaining the program for use by other people who would want to do something similar, have their own internet radio station and whatnot. But it became a hobby after I stopped working at WWSU radio, and I just don't have the time to maintain it anymore, unfortunately. But the code is there on the GitLab. And it had a lot of other features too, particularly for organization management, tracking DJ attendance, so tracking when they sign on and sign off on the air, what they play on the air, tracking their analytics, things like that. It also ran the website, which I believe the website is still online. Although they did make a few changes since I last worked there. But yeah, it uses WebSockets from that Node.js server to tell you what's currently playing. and their schedule and everything. It had a calendar management system, so every semester when the students of WWSU signed up for a radio show, the directors would just put it in the calendar system. And it had access control, so somebody couldn't go into the studio and use the studio computer if they were not scheduled to do a radio show at that time. What else? Oh, and it has conflict detection too. So the thing about college radio is that a sports broadcast might interfere with a student's radio show. So what I had to do was program the calendar system so that when the sports director added a sports broadcast into the calendar, it would automatically email any affected DJs and tell them that their show has been canceled or rescheduled because of due to the sports broadcast. And it would do the canceling and rescheduling automatically as well. So like for instance, let's say we'll pull up a notepad document. Hopefully I don't have anything sensitive in it. Nope, that's good. Let's say somebody has a radio show from 2 to 5 p.m. And then men's basketball gets scheduled from 4 to 6 p.m. So the sports broadcaster would add the basketball game into the system, and then the DJ for the 2 to 5 show would get emailed saying, hey, your show for this particular date and time has been rescheduled to 2 to 4 p.m. to make way for the basketball game. So it automatically shortened their show to correlate exactly with the time of the basketball show. It was really cool. And like, let's say if their show was 4 to 6 p.m., so they couldn't do any of their show, then it would outright cancel it. And all of this would also be visible on the website. So those who follow certain people's broadcasts, we get notified that, hey, they're not going to be broadcasting this day. Sorry, Run Until You Fly, for the delay in answering your message here. I can only imagine you built tons of amazing things. I need It's Your Radio's budget to be bumped higher because you would be an amazing fit. Well, get a hold of me if you want. I don't know what coding platform or what programming languages you're using for to run It's Your Radio, but I might be able to do something. My skills are kind of narrow in scope, though. I'm primarily a PHP developer, and then Node.js is my secondary language. So, but I'm not really familiar all that much with any other languages like Python or Rust or anything like that, unfortunately. But I could help out in any way that you would like me to. I could bring my radio experience, like if anything, if not programming, I can at least bring my knowledge and experience with real-world radio over to the platform. And how to do remote broadcasting and things like that. Alright, feel free to continue to ask any questions or comment or anything with regards to that, but I do want to get started on saving Wallden's website here. So we're creating the new page for Sniper, which is the main multi-ball feature. We created a route in our entry point script, which will load up the appropriate pieces of the web page, but now we have to edit the nav bar. We have to put Sniper on the navigation bar so people can actually click on it to get to that page. We have a handy function here that checks to see if this is the active page, and if so, it has a special class to the HTML to highlight that on the nav bar. Run Until You Fly says, yeah, I mean, that would be amazing. I wanted to benefit Valora streamers too, who do talk content. And yes, get with your coding. Don't let me stop you. Fingers run across the keyboard pretty fast. I'm all for talking about the other things while I code. But multitasking is not something I do very well, so I do have to stop in order to answer anything that people say in chat. Alright, so we got our sniper menu item. So now we just need to create the head. Let's start with the head file. So I separate everything out into different files here just to make things easier. Head, of course, is extra content that will be added to the head tag of the HTML depending on which page we are on. So in this case, we are adding a description meta tag for search engines. We could say something like, here you can learn about the main multi-ball feature of saving Wallden, the sniper. And that's what will display on search engine listings when they list this particular page. For those who may be curious what this is up here, I did mention it in my previous stream, but I'll be free to mention it again. This is checking to see if a particular constant has been defined, called proper entry, and if it has not been defined, it will throw a 403 forbidden error. So why do I have this? Because I want all web traffic to be routed to this entry point script to ensure that the proper HTML structure is returned. If somebody tries to access a PHP script directly, I don't want them to be able to. I want them to get the 403 forbidden. Want them to use the proper routes that we are defining in index.php, like rule/sniper, instead of going to head/rule/sniper.php and accessing the script directly. The constant is defined at the top of the index.php file right here. So if the request properly routed through the entry point script, this constant will be defined, and we will not get the 403 forbidden when loading this PHP file. So that's how that works. Alright, we need to also create a body file under the rules directory for sniper.php, and this is where we are going to put the main contents of the page. So again, we're going to start with our 403 forbidden check. Go ahead and clear everything else out. We'll pin this for now. We'll just start by putting our h1 tag, that's the header1 tag, so that is your primary title of the page. And we'll put that in. Let's just make sure everything is working. So we'll refresh, we'll check to see if sniper is on the menu, which it is. And if we click it, we should see the title. And we do. Alright, now we could get started with pulling the old text from the old website and putting it into the new website. We're going to use p tags, which are paragraph tags. They add special formatting around the text so that there is spacing between each paragraph. The boss hired an army of snipers to hide around and target any threats to their plans, including you. Take out the snipers before they take you out. And then this is going to be another paragraph right here. The sniper objective, since we're talking specifically about sniper, this needs to be in all caps. Why do we put that in all caps? It's to indicate that in the game, you spell each individual letter. There's like lights on the pinball table for each letter, and you spell the letters in sequence to start the objective. So I just put it in all caps as a visual indicator that it is something that you spell on the game in order to start the feature. The sniper objective is the table's equivalent to the regular multi-ball. To complete the objective, take out the snipers by collecting a cumulative 50 jackpots in chaser multi-balls. Oh, that should be sniper. Little typo there. Multiplied jackpots counts as multiple jackpots. For example, a 20x jackpot counts as collecting 20 jackpots. All right. And that's it for the intro. So we are going to add our spoiler warning, and I'm just going to copy this from another page. This page goes into heavy detail with the sniper objective. It will spoil gameplay and lore. If that's not what you want, then stick with those particular rules pages. Alright, now we're going to move on to our first subsection of the sniper, which is the jackpot. The jackpot value starts at 250,000 points. The pop bumpers increase the jackpot at any time by 5,000 per hit. The jackpot will reset to 250,000 either when Chaser 2 ball is started and failed, or Sniper multi-ball is finished. And again, that should probably be in all caps. This should be in all caps. Alright. Our next section, readying sniper. To ready the scoop, or left orbit, for the Sniper 2 ball, you must smell sniper at the crossbow. Every hit of the crossbow in normal gameplay will spell one letter. Once Sniper is spelled, both the left orbit and the right group are lit to lock your ball, are flashing, I should be more specific, are flashing orange to lock your ball and start Sniper 2 ball. The reason why I have to be specific here is those particular lights on the game, which it may help if I actually load the game for you to take a look at it. So let's do that real quick. So this is Visual Pinball X right here. This is the Saving Wallden table. I'm not actually going to load the game itself, but I'm just going to show you in the editor over here. If it cooperates with me. The editor can get a little buggy sometimes. I'm gonna have to restart the Visual Pinball. It does not like my mouse wheel for some reason. It does very weird things when I try and zoom in and zoom out using the mouse wheel. Okay, here we go. So if you take a look here at some of the structure of the playfield of the table, you could see here, there's an orbit here which goes and feeds a vertical up kicker, or hole, right here. There's another section of the table right here which feeds into a scoop. These two parts of the table can lock balls, because a ball can go up here and get locked into the vertical up kicker, and then the scoop can lock a ball. These two lights right here, these square lights, those are the lock lights. And they indicate when those particular shots are lit for a lock. There are actually 3 different features in Saving Wallden where the locks come into play. There is the Viking feature, so when you are about to spell the last letter of Viking, the left orbit will be lit for lock, and the lock light will be flashing blue. That's to indicate that you have to shoot the ball all the way up into the vertical up kicker to start the Viking feature. The other feature that uses the locks is the HP multi-ball. That's at the drop targets. So completing the drop targets a certain number of times will light the locks to lock a ball for the HP multi-ball. And HP multi-ball is what grants you more health to give you more longevity, more time, or it allows you to play the game longer, typically. The locks will flash red for the HP multi-ball locks. And then there's the sniper, which is what we're working on right now. Here's the crossbow shot right here. It is actually a captive ball. It's a triangle. There's a ball in here that's strapped in here, and what you have to do is take the ball in play that you had and smack the trapped ball that's in the triangle and make it hit the stand-up targets up here. And every time you hit any of the stand-up targets, you spell one of the 6 letters of sniper. And then once you spell all 6, the locks get lit orange to lock a ball for the sniper multi-ball. Now you may be asking if you are familiar with pinball by any means and the traditional colors that are used within pinball. Why don't you use green? Because green is the typical color for multi-ball. And I get what people are saying when they say that, because intuitively, when you think of green in pinball, you think multi-ball. However, I'm using different colors for different objectives in the game to kind of make it intuitive for the player to figure out which objective, which things are what for what objective is what I'm trying to say. So like the Viking lights are blue, the HP multi-ball lights are red, and the sniper lights are orange. That's why the locks light the respective colors. Green is actually used for chaser, which is the hurry ups. Now this wasn't by design initially. Initially, I was going to use chaser for the multi-ball. Now chaser is an ogre that chases you around in the lore of saving Wallden as you're trying to secure the village of Wallden from this vile beast who's trying to overthrow the royal family. There's an ogre who is chasing you and trying to get in your way. Originally, I was going to have the ogre be the multi-ball feature. My idea was that the ogre would have his goblin friend, would have friends who were goblins, and once the ogre got caught up with you, the ogre would engage you in battle, and that's where the multi-ball would come into play. And then I was thinking that the sniper would be the hurry up, because with the original idea is that when you spell sniper, you would spot a sniper in one of the buildings, and the hurry up is that you would have to get out of the way as quick as possible before the sniper sees you and fires at you. So, because Chaser was supposed to originally be the multi-ball feature, that's why I coded Chaser in the color green, and also green for ogres, because ogres are green, and goblins are often greenish as well. But later in the development of the game, I decided that it would actually make more sense if those features were flip-flopped. If the Chaser was the hurry up feature and the sniper was the multi-ball feature. It makes more sense to have a hurry up for something that is chasing you. The hurry up being that you try and outrun the ogre who is chasing after you before the ogre captures you. And then for the multi-ball feature with the sniper, that's something I'm actually working on right now. I don't quite know how I'm going to execute that. Because again, with the whole sniper thing, the idea is that you're supposed to see the sniper before the sniper sees you, and then you take out the sniper in some way or shape or form. So I am, the rules of the sniper multi-ball are currently up in the air right now. Okay, so to ready the scoop of the left orbit for sniper 2 ball, you must spell sniper at the crossbow. Every hit will spell one letter. Once sniper is spelled, both the left orbit and the right scoop are flashing orange to lock your ball and start the sniper 2 ball. And as we go on and add the rest of the content into this page, you'll find out what that means, what a 2 ball is, and how that works. If the scoop is lit for anything else, such as a training session, a mini-boss, starting dragon, etc., this takes priority and the scoop will not be lit for lock. Also, if Viking is ready for the left orbit, this will take priority over sniper lock for the left orbit. I might actually put this in an info box. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a div class running as the role of an alert box, and we're going to put this text in it. Now I'm using Bootstrap 5 as my CSS styling, so the alert info class will apply kind of like a bluish scheme to the box. And there it is. Alright, continuing on. The sniper 2 ball or standoff multi-ball. So now we get to learn what that's about as I am adding the content to the new webpage. To start sniper 2 ball, also known as standoff multi-ball, shoot the scoop or left orbit when it is lit for a sniper block. 2 balls will come onto the playfield. That's actually a bit ambiguous. It should say a second ball will come onto the playfield. And a ball shield of armor class seconds will begin. All main shots will be flashing white to score a quick 100,000 points each. Oops, I forgot the P tag. Additionally, the following happens in standoff multi-ball. Now we're going to use our handy dandy Bootstrap list group class to make this list look better than simple bullet points. So this is the way it looks like originally on the old website, and once we copy this content, you will see what it looks like when we use the Bootstrap list group classes. Looks much nicer. In Sniper 2 ball, shoot the left orbit to the vertical kicker or the right scoop to lock a ball or lock on to the sniper's position with your crossbow, making the lore sound a little making the lore make more sense. That's what I'm trying to say. Then quickly shoot the other ball in the other shot within 15 seconds to lock the second ball and shoot at the sniper. This should just be lowercase because we're talking about the character and not the objective. Locking both the balls in time strikes the sniper, which hits the sniper, which sounds the alarm for other snipers to attack, and this starts the main multi-ball. We're going to put this in the text background success class, which is going to make this particular list item have a background color of green, and that indicates success. So in this case, we're talking about a successful locking of the two balls, which starts the main multi-ball. But down here, we're going to be talking about the failure. Running out of time results in the sniper moving position and your ball being kicked out, requiring you to lock it again. This, I'm actually going to put in a warning, which is yellow, to indicate that it's kind of bad, but it's not necessarily a complete failure. This, however, is the failure condition. And this, I believe, we're going to put we're going to create a simple table. So we have to do a little different styling here. So we're actually going to put this on a new line in the paragraph tag. We don't have to necessarily do that in the list items when it's just simple text. But if we're going to be having a complex item, then we really should put it in a paragraph tag. This is going to be our failure condition, so that should be highlighted in red. If you drain either of your balls in two ball, you fail the sniper multi-ball. There are no grace periods. The sniper strikes you with their crossbow, resulting in you taking damage. The jackpot resets to 250,000, and you must start over again, felling sniper to get back into two ball to try again. The damage that you take depends on the game difficulty selected. I have a handy dandy class that I made in PHP to help me quickly print tables. So we're going to use that to create a simple table right here. I forgot to copy the starting PHP tag. I also forgot to copy a lot of things that are necessary to do this. Okay, so what is happening here? I will talk about it. We're switching to PHP mode out of HTML mode. So we're switching programming languages. We're requiring in a file called sources_templates.php. This file contains the print table function. The print table function contains boilerplate code or HTML code to build a simple responsive bootstrap table. This is so that I don't have to keep copying and pasting the same HTML over and over again for tables. So what I have to do is just have to specify the header row. So in this case, it would be difficulty, game difficulty. And then our second column will be the damage taken. Now for data, for each, it's an array of arrays. There's going to be an array for each row, and the index of the array of each array corresponds to the index of the header array. So in this case, the first, or 0 index rather, is the game difficulty. we start by specifying the Zen and Easy difficulties, and we look at our reference sheet here. We take 10 HP damage. We're going to add another array item. This is for the normal difficulty. And we take 15 HP damage. We add our third array element here, which will be the hard and impossible difficulty, and we take, whoops, I accidentally, I gotta disable my screen here. I accidentally activated my appraisal software. I have to disable my screen until I can close out of the software, because it's going to expose physical house addresses, and we don't want to dox anybody. Okay, let's get rid of that program. It's a little slow, I apologize. Alright, little slip up on my finger there. I meant to click Firefox. Alright, 20 HP damage. And that should build our table. Let's see where we are now. Here's our Sniper 2 ball section here. Here's our list. And here's that table we just constructed. Very nice. And as you can see, these particular list items are highlighted in the appropriate colors that we wanted. We move on to the next section of the page, which is the Sniper multi-ball itself. Actually, I may... No, that is a separate section, because we're talking about the main multi-ball now. When you start the main multi-ball, it turns into a 3-ball with a 2 times armor class seconds of ball shield, and one of 10 different multi-ball variations listed below will be randomly selected. The jackpots depend on which variation you are given. We're putting this in a big fat to-do, because I am not decided on what those 10 variations are going to be just yet. So we'll work on that another time. But for now, we will just continue on. And I'm not sure why I threw Scorebit Team on there. That's weird. That's a bug on the old website that I didn't notice. It has the wrong table. Summoning a team member, or add a ball. You can add a ball to multi-ball via deploying a power-up with the action button during the Sniper multi-ball. This also activates an armor class seconds of ball shield. However, if you already have 5 balls in play, this will award a 20x jackpot instead. The last hurrah. When you drain all but 1 ball in the Sniper multi-ball, you receive a 10-second last hurrah grace period, which gives you 10 seconds to make any last attempts at jackpots before the multi-ball ends. If you deploy a power-up to add a ball during the last hurrah, it is cancelled and the multi-ball resumes. Continues now. I shouldn't say resumes. Multi-ball is still technically going, even though you only have 1 ball in play at the time. Defeating the I'm going to use different text here. Once you collect a total of 50 jackpots, multipliers included, you defeat the snipers. And you proceed to the mini wizard. Now, just like I've done before in the other sections of the game, we put the details of the mini wizard into a spoiler accordion. So I also have another PHP function which allows me to create an accordion really quickly and very easily without me having to copy and paste the HTML over and over again for an accordion. And we will build that in a moment, but it is the top of the hour, so it is time for me to take a 5-minute break. Everybody stick around, we'll return in about 5 minutes. I am going to see if I can get those pictures of that heat lightning that I mentioned from the storm last night in the area for you to check out when I return. No promises on that, but we'll see. Everybody stick around, we'll be right back. Welcome back to our development stream for Saving Wallden. Particularly, we are working on the new website for the Saving Wallden pinball table that I have been developing over the past couple of years. And hopefully, within the next month or two, once we get the new website finished, then we'll be able to go back to actually working on the game itself. But for now, we're going to continue working on the website. We left off working on the sniper page of the sniper multi-ball feature. We are now down here to the defeating the sniper section where we create a spoiler accordion to talk about the mini wizards. So I have a special function, PHP function here called print accordion, and what that does is it constructs an HTML accordion using Bootstrap 5 styling. And I have it set up to, this one's a little interesting, and I've mentioned it before. The way I have it set up is that it takes two parameters. The first parameter is the name of a directory under the pieces folder right here. So in this case, sniper, so we'll need to create the new folder and call it sniper. And then to prevent stray web requests from listing the contents of the web server, we're going to put a blank index.html file in that directory. So we have that directory now, and then we feed in an array, a map, if you will, that contains the name of a PHP file followed by a title for that accordion item. So each accordion item will have its own separate PHP file and title. But since we're only using an accordion as a spoiler tag, there's only going to be one item. And we're calling it sniper-completion. We're going to copy the HTML from the castle completion accordion item because they're pretty similar. With most mini wizards in the Saving Wallden table, there are two variations. There's the spare route and the kill route. And you can make that decision in the game whether you want to spare or kill the character which you have been engaging in the battle with or whatever in Saving Wallden. So I use the same HTML code in each one because it uses the Bootstrap grid system to create two cards, one for the spare side of the mini wizard and another for the kill side of the mini wizard, and it gives you instructions for each. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Actually, this one is an interesting one because the feature is very similar between spare and kill. So in this case, we're not going to use, we're just going to use a single column in our grid system. We're going to span it the entire 12 sections of the Bootstrap 5 grid system. You may be asking why I'm doing this. It's just to add a little bit of padding around the card to make it look decent. For the background, we're just going to, since this is spare or kill, we're just going to use the primary background. We'll call this the sniper spare or kill. We'll eventually get screenshots of the feature and all of the other mini wizards of the game. But for now, there will not be a screenshot because the game is far from being complete. I did forget to add the. I should do this. We should add the intro text above the card right here. Once you defeat the sniper, the flippers freeze and multi-ball end. You are asked if you want to spare humble the snipers in an attempt to gain them as allies, or you can kill them. A ball is launched into the shooter lane, but the flippers are disabled. If you hit a trained stand-up, then you deal the final blow and kill the snipers. If you miss the stand-ups and let the ball drain, then you choose to spare them. Whether you chose spare or kill, the following happens. And again, we're going to use our bootstrap list group. Oop. Okay, the Laughing Chipmunk has sent us photos of the lightning that I was talking to you about. Let me drag Firefox off screen for a second here. Get to see the storm that we had last night. Here we go. Here's one photo. Oh, that looks really cool. So you can see the towering thunderstorm cloud right here that we had in the area. And then the lightning was shooting upwards for the most part. It was a really interesting storm that we had. I have to keep dragging this off screen as I switch photos so that I don't expose her phone number on stream. Here's another. So you could kind of see a little bit of lightning there among the cloud. This one's kind of dark, so I'm going to skip that one, but I really like this one. Because again, the lightning kind of illuminates the structure of the thunderstorm cloud here, which is pretty cool. This was a developing thunderstorm in the area too. This was one of those popcorn storms. So the clouds were literally towering up in the sky and forming in front of our eyes. And we were getting lightning pretty frequently. Maybe once every second or two was a lightning strike in the clouds. So, it's a very cool storm. Alright. So those are the photos. Thank you to Laughing Chipmunk for sending those in. That is my mother. That's what she goes by on stream. Welcome. She says welcome. Alright. So, we're going to get into our list item for the Sniper Mini Wizard. So whether you choose to spare or kill the sniper, the following happens. A 5-ball multi-ball begins. A ball save, which we're renaming to ball shield instead of ball save. It would be more medieval appropriate because the blacksmith gives you a shield. A ball shield activates, equal to 5 times your armor class number of seconds. The ramps, orbits, horseshoe, and the right scoop are all lit green for 1-time jackpot. Hitting the captive ball stand-up that is flashing red scores a 20 times jackpot. The green ones score a 5 times jackpot. Should we really make that green? Because it's a different jackpot value from the other shot, so really it should be a different color. Let me think about this one. So captive ball shot that's flashing red will score 20x jackpot. Might as well make it yellow. Alright. If you chose to spare the snipers, then you must collect 100 jackpots, multipliers included, to gain the trust of the snipers. Mini Wizard continues even when you are down to one ball. Draining all of the balls before accomplishing your goal means the snipers will die, which counts as a kill instead. You will also receive drain damage for draining. If you chose to kill, Mini Wizard continues until you are down to one ball, and then you get the 10-second last hurrah to collect jackpots before the Mini Wizard ends. I think we're going to do text, background, light, text, dark for this item, since this talks about the spare when you're sparing. This one's going to be text, background, danger, since we're talking about the kill route. We'll see how that looks. There's our spoiler accordion, and when we open it up, there is our info card. Very nice. Now we move on to the bonus progress. And I need to make sure I don't make the same mistake again. That should not go in the accordion file. That should go into the file of the main contents of the page. After completing the sniper objective, you can continue starting sniper multi-balls. However, and in this case, I don't think I'm going to use the fancy bootstrap list groups. I think we're just going to use standard bullet points, because there's only 2 of them. Sniper multi-ball switches to a lock ball mechanic, no more 2 balls. Still sniper to lock a blah 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 blah. Actually, no, we are not doing that anymore. So we don't even need the bullet points. We could just turn this into a sentence. The reason, so my initial plans with the sniper multi-ball is that instead of the original mechanic of the locking of the ball locking, where after the first ball, a second ball comes into play, and you have to lock both balls within 15 seconds of each other to start the actual 3-ball multi-ball. It switches to a traditional ball lock mechanic, where you lock a ball, lock a second ball, and lock a third ball, multi-ball begins. I decided I'm not going to do that for the sniper multi-ball, because the HP multi-ball, which is a fairly new feature that I planned and incorporated into the game, that uses a traditional lock-a-ball mechanic. So my idea is that after you complete the sniper objective, bonus progress, it's still going to follow the same mechanic. These sniper multi-balls come with the ball shield of 3 times armor class seconds instead of 2 times armor class. I'm gonna add a to-do because I may change it a little bit. I may change the rules farther in the future. Also, I don't have... Oh, here it is. I was gonna say I don't have... There's got to be something that talks about how much HP you get. Every additional jackpot collected, including multipliers, will earn you a potential 1 HP towards Potion Motion Mini Wizard. And that's the feature that begins right before you fight the final boss in the game, to give you a lot of HP in the preparation for the final boss. There we go. That is, for the most part, sniper page concluded. The only part that I haven't finished yet was the sniper multi-ball section, where I have to create an accordion describing the 10 different variations of how you collect the jackpots in sniper multi-ball. And again, that's something I'm going to have to work on and kind of plan off stream rather. Let's go ahead and commit the page to our Git repository, and let's push it to GitLab. And later I will pull it onto the website. The new website, by the way, if you want to check it out, is situated at wallden.pdstig.me. So if you want to learn about the Saving Wallden pinball game, just go to wallden.pdstig.me and you will get this website that we have been working on. Here you can learn all about the game, how to play it. You can even download it and give it a try. It is currently very early in its development, so a lot of features are still not yet implemented. But we could definitely use your feedback, especially for reporting bugs and suggestions. All you have to do is go to the website, click download on the menu. Be sure to install Visual Pinball X first. That's this program. It is the program that actually runs the game, the pinball simulator. So it's kind of like the Unity or the Steam of the Unity and Steam games, the front end. And then you would download the actual table file itself down here. So you could give it a try that way, and if you discover any bugs or you have any suggestions on how to improve the game, just click this link on that download page right here called Report Bugs or Suggestions. It will pull up a quick form that will get emailed to me, and then I can email you back with any additional follow-up or whatnot. If you want to become a long-term contributor of Saving Wallden, then please let me know as well. You can email me at that listed email address. You can mention me in the chat, just let me know, or whatnot. Now, I do have to give you a disclaimer that the game itself will not be profitable. It is going to be available for free download to everybody, and that is due to the licensing of Visual Pinball X. You cannot charge money for any of the pinball tables that you create in Visual Pinball X. They all have to be distributed for free, and there are a couple of reasons for that. Number one, the pinball hobby, the main point of Visual Pinball X is to create a digital archive or a digital museum of real pinball tables. And so the people who are involved in this collective community do this as a hobby and not to make money. The other reason is because Visual Pinball X itself is free and open source. So you would be violating the free and open source license agreement if you created and charged money for a table within that program. And the third reason is due to potential intellectual property and copyright issues that you would be much more likely to run into if you charged money for a game. A lot of people create the tables in the Visual Pinball X and use assets from copyrighted works. I'm trying not to do that for Saving Wallden. My personal goal with Saving Wallden is that it's going to be a completely original table, with the exception of maybe some Creative Commons licensed assets. But the point being is there's not going to be any copyrighted assets or intellectual property rather, used in the table. There is currently some AI assets in the table, and those have always been meant to be temporary placeholders. We actually have somebody who's fairly recent on the team, Alex Durrell, who has been working to come up with new music, new original music, and new artwork to replace anything and everything AI in the game. So it's really cool that we have him on the team. Because my ultimate goal is that this table will be released with no AI in it. No AI, no intellectual property assets, none of that. It's going to be a completely original table. So you can read all about the contributors here as well. Again, if you want to become a contributor, just go to attributions, click this link here, and just fill out your info. Let me know rather, what you would like to contribute. We are currently, in particular, looking for voice actors, people who can code in VB-script language or Visual Basic, artists, musicians, and people to just test the game on a regular basis and leave critical feedback. Also, singers. I forgot to mention singers. It would be nice to have a singer on board because there are a few songs that I want to create for the game that have actual lyrics to them. And it would be nice to have somebody who can sing. And I know was one or two people so far who had mentioned interest in that. So I will get with them in due time once we get the website completely up and running. Alright, let's go on to making another page. So we completed Blacksmith, Castle Chaser, Dragon, Escape, Sniper, and Viking. We got the 7 core objectives in our new website. So now that leaves us with the final boss. So we're going to create the page for the final boss. And I don't know if we're going to get through the entire page today, considering that I have about 30 minutes left in my stream, but we'll see how far we can go today. Again, we start with our entry point script. We're going to define a route, and we're going to call it final-boss. That's going to be what we look for in the URL, and this is the PHP pages, the path of the PHP pages that we're going to load up. And title it Final Boss in the browser tab. Then we have to go and add it to our navigation bar under the Rules tab. There's a mosquito in here. Give me 1 second. I don't know if you heard that bang, but yeah, we don't want to get bit by mosquito in this house. So I had to take care of that mosquito. Okay, final boss is added to navigation menu. So now we just have to create the head page and the body page. Learn about the final battle in saving Wallden the final boss. That's what's going to show up in our search engine metadata. We'll create our body page, just like before. We'll start it off with our H1 tag. And that should give us our starting point. Make sure it shows up in the menu and loads correctly, and it does. Nice. Alright, let's start. Ooh, I closed the old website by accident. Go ahead and start moving content or copying content over. After having completed the 7 primary objectives and potion motion, I should create that. I should have created that first, but that's fine. We'll leave that alone for now. We'll get to that another day. After having completed the 7 primary objectives and potion motion, the final boss battle begins. Now, I may have to make revisions. This may be outdated. The rules on this old website may be outdated from my current plans for the final boss. What happens depends on which route you are taking in the game. The spare route is when all 7 objectives were completed in the spare or white state. The kill route is when all 7 objectives were completed in the kill or red state. And in all other cases, you will be in the neutral route. And we are going to put our standard spoiler warning in here. This deals with the final boss objective. Cooperative play. I'm just going to call it cooperative play instead of saying a note on. In cooperative play, the following happens, and I think we'll just use, if I can type it correctly, in unordered bullet point list. I'm not going to use a group element for this. List group rather. When a player runs out of HP, the next player is prompted to come to the table and resume progress on the final boss. Or if every player died, the game ends. A player swap also occurs between each stage of the final boss. A player swap also occurs now I need to think about this. This is a feature that I haven't really documented much yet, that I'm planning for saving Wallden. That is at the when you complete each of the 7 objectives, you're going to get a part of a sequence that you must use to summon the Archangel of Wallden to help you in your final boss battle. So the sequence could be of either the left flipper button, the right flipper button, or the action button, I'm thinking. And you have to, in the final boss battle, or I'm sorry, before I get into that, after each objective, you're going to get part of the sequence. You're going to be given which buttons you need to press and in which order. But they're going to be broken up into stages. Then in the final boss, you have to push all of those buttons in the correct order to summon the Archangel of Wallden. And every failure will result in that I'm trying to figure out some sort of feature, I guess you would say, where you could lose health in the process. And then once you complete that feature, then you are given another chance to correctly input the sequence. And that process repeats until you put in the correct sequence. So I'm thinking the player swap is going to occur at some point during each failure of that sequence. Probably after the feature. So a player swap also occurs when a player fails to correctly summon the Archangel of Wallden and finishes the punishment round. Alright, next section, drain damage. Regular drain damage is not used in the final boss. I don't know if this sub-condition is going to be true, so I'm just going to remove that for now. I'm working on that. Instead, the drain damage will be the following, depending on the game difficulty. And we are going to create a table for that. So just go ahead and copy and paste this table. I believe, let's see, it's gonna be like, okay, so it's 4 HP for Zen and Easy, 6 HP for Normal, and 8 HP for Hard and Impossible. I may change that. I'm thinking on this. Do I want to do 3, 6, and 9 instead of 4, 6, and 8? Although 9 might be a little bit too difficult for Hard and Impossible. 8 might even be too difficult for Hard and Impossible. Do we want to just do 2, 4, and 6? Although I think there's another feature that already does 2, 4, 6. So in general, you would want this to be a little bit higher than the other boss battles, since this is the final boss battle. For now, we'll leave it at 4, 6, 8. I'll think on that. Stage 1. Summoning the Archangel. So I did apparently document this. When completing each of the 7 objectives, you are given part of a sequence of buttons you must press in order to summon the Archangel of Wallden in dire times of need. Now is the time to do so. You discover the king and queen in the castle, and they're caged in an invincible bubble powered by a spell which was cast by the boss. Only the powers of a celestial can destroy the cage and free the king and queen. You're prompted to perform the summoning ritual correctly. Each time you fail, a multiple starts, and you must shoot a multiple starts. The punishment round. And you must shoot all of the lit shots to then enter input mode again to try the ritual again. When in multi-ball, the boss has opportunities to deal damage at you each time you drain a ball before shooting all of the necessary shots. The boss will also mess with the table to try making you drain your balls faster. That's also what she said. When going back to try the ritual, the table will reveal parts of the sequence to you for 3 seconds to help you out. If you activated the power up prior to the next input, then all the parts will be revealed during this time. You will still have to input them incorrectly. We don't need however. The however is redundant. Let's add here is how the punishment round operates. Punishment round and the input mode operate. And this will be another table, so we'll just we'll use our handy PHP function that we created to build a table. So let's determine what our headers are going to be. Failure number, balls in play, lit shots to be completed, sequence parts revealed on next input. So, failure number. Balls in play for the multi-ball. Lit shots to be completed. And sequence parts revealed on next input. Alright, and then we create an array of arrays with the same number of items match with the indexes matching what we have in the header. So we start with failure number 0. Oh, we don't have a failure number 0. I guess because input 0, the first input, you have to actually fail at it in order to, Anyway. Balls in play 2. Lit shots to be completed 1. And sequence parts revealed on next input mode 0. We just copy and paste this multiple times. How many failures do we have? Oh, we have 8. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Get our code properly lined up here. Let's start by editing the failure numbers here. Just get that out of the way. Failure number 8 is actually failure number 8 and above. Now, balls in play, we have 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. Lit shots to be completed. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And the sequence parts revealed on next input. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All of them. And that's our table. Let's see what it looks like. There's our content so far. There's our drain damage table, which looks good to me. Here is the summoning the Archangel table. That looks good to us. Alright. Go ahead and continue. Paragraph tag. I did an accidental copy paste. We gotta do that again. Once you successfully complete the ritual, the Archangel is summoned. We don't use Divinity as the name anymore. The Archangel is summoned and you move on to the next stage. I already mentioned that player swap, so we're not going to mention it again. Stage 2, free the king and queen. After summoning the Archangel, you now play as her and must use your celestial powers to destroy the invisible cage trapping the king and queen. Wait a minute. Okay, let me think about this for a moment because this doesn't make any sense. If you are an adventurer, you wouldn't automatically have the ability to control a celestial. You would need some sort of really powerful spell for that. And even then, it wouldn't be in your best interest to control a celestial for the purpose of saving a royal family. You should just let the celestial do their thing. So let's rework this lore a little bit. Let me read what else I have. So the spinner is flashing white and pop bumpers are also flashing. A 5-ball multi-ball starts. A combined total of 250 spins and pop bumper hits must be achieved to build celestial power up strong enough to destroy the gauge. What we could possibly do is do something like a pray mechanic. So celestial beings, typically you, at least in Catholicism and other religions, you pray to them. And by praying to them, they do what you want them to do, or provide what you want them to do. So maybe we could have we could change the mechanic here. Well, we're not actually changing the mechanic, we're just changing the lore behind it. To say that instead of controlling the celestial yourself, you are believing in the Archangel. And by believing in the Archangel, you are giving the Archangel enough power to free the king and queen. That the power of the Archangel is dependent on your faith in the Archangel. So we could do something like that. After summoning the Archangel, you must pray and believe in the Archangel to give her the power necessary to free the king and the queen. Pray to and believe in the Archangel. That would be better wording. The spinner is flashing white and the pop bumpers are also flashing. A 5-ball multi-ball starts. A combined total of 250 spins and pop bumper hits must be achieved to provide enough faith to the celestial or to the Archangel, which I don't know why I'm still calling it celestial. To the Archangel for her to destroy the cage trapping the king and the queen. Then you must shoot the scoop. Let's see, how would we word this one? Then you must shoot the scoop. To complete the prayer. At that point, the Archangel can destroy the cage. Note that, oh, I did it again. I did that weird copy pasting. Note that in this process, throwing the balls will come back into play but will deal damage against the player, and the boss will try launching attacks to make you drain faster. I think that's for all stages, to be honest, so that may be a redundant note that I'll have to put somewhere else later on. So I'm going to add a to-do to there. Once the cage is destroyed, the king and queen is freed, but the journey is not over yet. The boss still lurks and is still attacking. Stage 3, the battle. And actually, I want to think about this a little bit. Let me read what I have for the kill route in particular. Okay, so it does make sense. Now, normally what I would do for this is since we're talking about the different routes in the game, I would put these in separate bootstrap cards to kind of visually separate them out. However, there is a lot of information in each stage, so a card would not be appropriate. So we're just going to use standard HTML sections. But unfortunately, we are coming up to the end of our stream for today, and I think one of our cats just caught a piece of bubble wrap paper in their mouth and is meowing like they just caught a predator or something, and they want to show us what they caught. I don't know if you could hear the cat in the background, but it's kind of funny. Anyway, we are going to close off for today's stream because we are reaching the 2-hour mark. Thank you everybody for tuning into today's stream. If you want to learn more about me, Orqata, you can go to my website at orqata.live. There you can look at all of my social media profiles. You can learn a little bit about what types of streams I do. You could check out my streaming schedule for August, as well as the type of streams that I do. In particular, for the month of August, I am visiting family right now, and I am also finishing a move, so my streaming capacity for August is very limited, and I hope that it will get better in September. No rhyme intended. So for the time being, my main streams are going to be on Sundays at the various times, with the rare chance that I might also stream on a Friday or Saturday. Note that starting August 23rd, I may have to drop away for a short hiatus because I will be going back home from visiting family. And there is no internet service at my new place yet, so I will have to wait until that gets installed before I can stream again. You could also go to my website to learn about how to earn ducats, which is my virtual currency for using redeems on each of my platforms. There are Here is a list of redeems. They are rotated on a monthly basis. You could either use the chat command specified to use the redeem, or you could use the channel points. You can learn about the boss battle, how the boss battle works, how to deal damage to the stream boss, and what happens when it is defeated. People get rewards. You can learn about the 4 different colonies. Everybody gets placed in one random colony. If you want to see what colony you're in, just use the exclamation point colony command in the chat when I am live. You earn points for your colony, and then at the end of every quarter, the winning colony gets a reward dropped in my Discord server, which you can also see the Discord server on my website. And if you want to learn a lot more about me, who I am, how I do my streams, my streaming setup, my hardware, and lore and whatnot, check out the FAQ. With that being said, thank you everybody for tuning into today's stream. I'm going to go ahead and sign off for today, and we'll see you next time. Take care.